In this next section, we want to look at Ross, section 15.4. And here we're dealing with the matter of Sehgal nouns. You know that Sehgal nouns present a particular problem, and they are a bit unusual compared to other nouns. And so here we come to understand why. Now, just to remind ourselves, the common Sehgal noun that we've used is the word Melek. And Melek is a good example of a Sehgal noun in that typically we have double Sehgal for our pattern, and Sehgal nouns are committed to first syllable stress. Stress on root 1, on the first syllable, Melek. Now, what we want to do is just explain what happens here when we add pronominal suffixes. As you might remember, when we were turning this noun into the construct, in the construct singular, Melek is Melek. It doesn't change. The absolute of Melek in the plural is Melakim, and the masculine plural construct was Mal. So the eam became Canadian here. And then what happened was, when we add the Canadian ending, the Sarayod, the lamed was left open in proprotonic. It reduced to vocal shava, and the two vocal shavas can't stay side by side. And what we were told was that the original vowel reappears. So not a Keurig, but in the case of Melek, it becomes a Pathak. All right, and that was very unusual. And I told you that you would get a little bit more insight into why this is when we got to chapter 15. Well, here we are. So, just a little bit about the history of Sehgal nouns. Sehgal nouns were originally nouns that had one vowel after root 1. And we'll take Melek as an example. It had an original vowel followed by its second and third root letter, and then there were case endings originally in the Hebrew language. These case endings fell out, but this would have been the nominative case ending, the u. And so what would have ended up with for the nominative form of Melek was Malku originally. So it originally had an a vowel here, and then this little u vowel indicated the nominative case. Now, there were other vowels that were probably used to indicate original case endings, an I vowel, Malki, and an A vowel, Malka, for genitive and accusative, respectively. And what ended up happening in the history of the language is that the case endings stopped being used. And as you know now, Hebrew does not have a case system anymore. But originally, it did. And when these case endings dropped off, what was left was the three consonants with that short original vowel, in this case A for Melek, Malk, and no case ending. And because of this consonant cluster at the end of the word, what Hebrew did was it ended up adding or inserting a vowel to break up the consonant cluster. So Malk became Malek. And then, as this would have been a Sehgal, and then the last thing that happened was that this Sehgal influenced the original vowel and caused it to harmonize. So we ended up with Melek. Okay? So that's where the double Sehgal pattern came from. So Malku became Malk, lost case ending, break up the consonant cluster, Malek, and then harmonize the vowel to Melek. All right? So that's basically the pattern. When this first vowel, this original vowel, harmonized with the Sehgal so that they both look the same, what happened was that the original vowel was obscured. So now when you look at Melek as the lexical form, you can't tell that under the mem there originally was an A-class vowel. But that explains why when you come to the form the kings of something, in the masculine plural construct, that explains why we get this mysterious pathak that shows up. There's a reason for that pathak. It's because originally there was an A-class vowel under that mem that was obscured by the Sehgal. Okay, so that is what happens. Now, let's just take a look then at the forms of some of these Succulent nouns. I'm going to show you a few more Succulent nouns than the ones that Ross shows you. And I'm going to use my Bible program to show you the Hebrew lexicon. A lexicon is basically a dictionary. And it's going to provide you with some forms to show you what the original vowels were for some of these Succulent nouns whose original vowel is obscured by the Sehgal. All right? But first things first, let's just look at what happens with Melek when we add our pronominal suffixes. So we have Melek. We want to add the pronoun, let's say the second masculine singular pronoun, Melek. And I would put a final kaf here, but I'm going to add a pronominal suffix. So I'm going to go ahead and put the non-final kaf here. Melek is normally accented here, Melek. But when I add a pronominal suffix, I'm going to lose the stress here. So that's going to go away. And as you know, whenever we lose the stress on syllable 1, we're going to end up with change of vowels here. And this is the situation where we get the original vowel showing up. So I get mal. I'm going to have a closed syllable here. And then I'll get my pronominal suffix, which will be, in this case, malkaha, for the 2ms pronoun. So malkaha is your king. Okay, malkaha. Where did that original A vowel come from? It comes from the original vowel that was there in an earlier stage in Hebrew. Malkaha. If I want to say my king, then what's that going to look like? Well, it's going to be mal, just like we've got. The original vowel shows up, but a kirik yod for the first common singular pronoun. So mal ki is my king. And then your king, if we want to use the your of the 2MP, second masculine plural, it would be mal ke kem. All right. So again, our original short A vowel, then a silent shiva. So mal kaha, mal ki, mal kahem. So this is your, and the you is masculine plural, your king. One king, by the way. There's no yods before these pronouns. That indicates that our noun is singular. Now, what about adding the pronominal suffixes to the plural forms? Well, first thing we do, of course, is we take malakim. Remember, when we made Melek plural, we added the im ending and we lost the stress that was on root 1, and we adopted the pattern of devarim, those vowels, vocal shava and kametz, under the first 2 root letters, so malakim. Now, what if I want to add the same 2ms pronoun to malakim? What does that look like? Well, it looks like this. K. Ka. Okay, so we have the Sehgal yod as our helping vowel. The yod indicates that this is a plural noun, and then the ka ending for 2ms. Melachecha is your, not a singular king, but plural. Your kings. Your kings. Melachecha. My accent is on that kaf. Melachecha. Notice that's open and pretonic. Hebrew requires open pretonic syllables to be long, and this would have been open and propertonic, and it's reduced to a vocal shava. How would I say my kings? Plural kings? Well, it would be me, la, and then it's just kai. Me, la, kai. So that's my kings. Notice how different that is from mal ki. My one king, melachai, my plural kings. Yeah, make that a little bit better. Okay, and then to say your kings, and we're talking about a masculine plural you added up to a plural form of kings. This becomes, well, here, we'll go ahead and use the vowel points and then we'll show you what happens. Melachim becomes Melachei Kem. Okay, a Kem is what I'm going to see when I add the community pronoun, my pronoun that I attach to plural nouns. I'm going to have that Sarah Yod before, Kem on the end here for y'alls. And notice the accent is going to be way over here on the end. Kem is a heavy ending, so it takes the stress. This is open and pretonic. This one is open and propertonic. Hebrew is going to require that to go to vocal shava. I now have two vocal shavas side by side. I cannot keep these vocal shavas here. So the Red Rider problem is going to resolve this, presumably, by shooting out an I or two. But instead of putting a kirik here, what are we going to get? We're going to get the original short vowel that was accompanying root 1. In this case, it's going to be that pathak. So it's mal kehem. Mal kehem. All right, so your kings. Mal kehem. Compare that to mal kehem. This one does not have a yod before the kem. It's singular. Y'all have one king. Over here, the kem has the yod in front of it. This is a plural noun. Y'all's plural kings. All right. So that's how that works. Now, what I want to do is just walk you through some of the other Sehgal nouns that you've seen in your textbook, because you may be wondering, well, Dr. Marshall, I wasn't around thousands of years ago when Hebrew speakers were using this original short vowel, whichever short vowel it was, with my Sehgal noun. So how would I know which vowel is the original vowel if the Sehgal has obscured it? And you'll actually be able to tell what it is by looking at the forms of that Sehgal noun when you put it in the construct, plural, or when you add pronominal suffixes, and it creates a situation where we need a short vowel under root 1. So let's walk through some of these. Here I have the lexicon open to the word Melek. Melek, as you know, is the word for king in Hebrew, and you can see that here. The lexicon is now going to give us the forms of Melek, just a sampling of forms, when I add pronominal suffixes to the singular, when I make it plural, when I have the construct plural, and when I have pronominal suffixes attached to the plural forms of the noun Melek. So just take a look here. The first thing I have, SF means suffix. So this is an example of adding the pronominal suffix my, the kirik yod, to Melek, and look at what you get. You get this original short a vowel appearing under the root 1 mem. So malki. So here, this is a clue that the original vowel that the Sehgal has obscured in the lexical form, it was an a vowel. With the plural, you have malakim, so you can't see that a vowel here. But the masculine plural construct is malki. And so you'll notice that that original a vowel shows up here for the kings of Sodom, for example, malke. When I add pronominal suffixes to the plural, I get mulacheha for her kings. Here, I've got a reduction to vocal shava, which obscures what my original a vowel was. But with my heavy endings, hem, hen, kem, and ken, my original a vowel does reappear, mal kehem. And so there you see evidence that the original vowel with the first root letter of this Sehgal noun was a pathak. Let's take a look at another word, the word Derrick. So here I have the word Derrick, which means way or path, and you'll notice that it gives you the forms again. Here is the word Derrick when it has pausal lengthening, and the short Sehgal has lengthened to a vowel. It becomes a long vowel. It becomes Derrick. And now here is the pronominal suffix attached to Derrick. This is his way. The Cholam Vav is his. Notice it's Darko. So what was the original vowel here under the Dalet that's obscured by the Sehgal and the Sehgalit form? Well, it was an A-class vowel. His Derrick is Darko. We'll skip over to the plural. Derachim, paths. The construct plural is Darke. So there's my original A vowel showing up. When I add pronominal suffixes to the plural Derachim, I get Derachav, his ways. There, my vocal shava obscures the original vowel. Derachecha, your ways. But notice when I have heavy endings like hem and hen, I get my original A vowel. Darkechem. Darkechem. So, the original vowel under the Dalet of Derrick would have been an A-class vowel. Okay? Let's take a look at kesef, the word for silver. Here is kesef. Kesef means silver or money. And here I have the pronominal suffix, the kirik yod for my added to kesef, and notice that it also has an original A vowel that the Sehgal of kesef has obscured. So it becomes kaspi, my kesef, kaspi. Kaspam, this is the third masculine plural pronoun. Kaspam, their kesef, there's my A vowel. Kaspenu, our kesef. Okay, so we see that A vowel there. And then my plural noun, kusafim, when I add pronominal suffixes, especially the heavy endings, notice I get that original A vowel there. Kaspehem, hem, kaspehem. Their silver pieces, plural. So, the original A vowel with the kaf of kesef was in fact an A-class vowel. The next one we'll look at is the word sefer, which is the word for book or scroll. So here is the lexical entry for sefer, book or scroll. And notice that here instead of a Sehgal, the lexical form has a sere. Okay, this is a tone-long sere, and the accent is on that first root letter, sefer. And when I add pronominal suffixes to the singular form of sefer, look at what I get. I get sifraha for the 2ms pronoun. Sifraha. So what vowel class was the original short vowel that was under the Samic? It's an I-class vowel. Okay, so Melek and Derrick and kesef, those had A-class vowels with root 1, but sefer has an I-class vowel. My scroll is sifri. So there's my short I-class vowel, silent shava after root 2 here. So sifraha, your scroll. Sifri, my scroll or book or document. And then the plural is sifarim. That's the absolute. And there's no pronominal suffix here. But if I were to say their scrolls, it would be sifrehem, where the original I vowel would show up under that Samic. The last one I want to look at is the word Kodesh, which is the word for holiness. Here is the lexical entry for Kodesh. And notice that this has one Sehgal, but not two. The first vowel is a Cholam, which you know is a U-class vowel, don't you? Now, let's look at the form when I add the pronominal suffix my, the kirik yod. Kodesh becomes Kod-shi. This is a kametz katuv, and that is a short U-class vowel. We would transliterate it as an O, right? So Kod-shi. Kod-shi. So the original vowel is an O. Here I have Kod-shecha. Kod-shecha. So this is your holiness. Again, I'm seeing the short U-class vowel. And then when I make this plural, I get a compound shava here under the kof, kodashim. And when we make this the construct plural, it's kodshe. Kodshe. So there's my original short U-class vowel under the kof. Here I have kodashai. I have kodshechem and kodashav. There's that compound shava. But here, I just want you to see that what's showing up here is not an A vowel, but a U-class vowel, a short U-class vowel under those circumstances where I need to put a vowel there because I've got two vocal shavas that would have come together. The red writer shoots out the two dots of the first vocal shava, and we replace it with a short vowel. Which short vowel will it be? It'll be the short vowel corresponding to the original short vowel of that noun, that Sehgal noun. In this case, Kodesh. Kodesh. It's a short O. Okay, so that's Sehgal nouns. Now back to Ross, page 122. Look at 15.5. Here we're adding pronominal suffixes to nouns that have diphthongs. Now remember, we have AY diphthongs and AW diphthongs. And we noted that when we put the noun bayit, which has the AY diphthong, when we put it in the construct, what did it become? It became bait. The I became A. It became the Canadian form. I becomes A. Because it loses its stress when it becomes a construct form, right? So if I want to say the house of God, it's Beit El. The house of bread, Beit Lechem. So when my nouns that have diphthongs lose their stress, this is when contraction happens and the diphthongs contract. Bayit became Beit. And then if you remember Mavith, which was the word for death, there's my AW diphthong here. Mavith, it becomes Mot. It becomes Holam Vav. So Mot Moshe, for example. Thing 1, thing 2. Mot Moshe, the death of Moses. We lose the stress and the ow contracts to O. All right? So we saw those when these singular nouns became construct, and we're going to see the same kind of contraction happen when we add pronominal suffixes. Remember, when we take a noun and add a pronominal suffix to it, in effect what we're doing is we're using the construct form of the noun and adding the pronoun to it. So if I take bayit and I want to say something like his house, I take bayit, I add the holam vav for his, the stress is going to move to the back. I'm going to lose the stress up here at the front, and I'm going to get contraction of the I is going to become A. And so that's going to look like this. Beit becomes beito with the pronominal suffix beito. So that's his house. My house. Beit with a kirik yod. Beiti. My house. Okay? And if I take the word mavit, would normally be stressed on that ma syllable, mawith or mavith, but I want to talk about his death. I add a holam vav. The tau is going to slide over and take this vowel, and we're going to stress this final syllable now. It's going to lose the stress over here on the ma, and I'm going to get contraction of awith or avith, and it's going to now be a holam vav, mot. Okay, so his death is moto, moto. My death would be moti, and so forth and so on. All right, so those are the forms of bayit and mavith when we unstress them by adding pronominal suffixes that move the stress off of that first syllable.